Hello and a very warm welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today I want to talk about the real estate market in Greece and whether it is still worth investing in or not. Now, as you probably know, house prices in Greece collapsed, and they collapsed very heavily due to an economic disaster. In 2000, between 2007 and 2017, GDP in Greece fell by a massive 25%, and correspondingly, house prices in almost every part of Greece dropped very heavily. In particular, Athens dropped by nearly 50% in real terms. But prices have picked up over the last 3 years or so. So the question is it still worth investing here? Well, today I'll give you 10 reasons still to invest in this market. I'll give you some disadvantages and my conclusion at the end. So let's start with the advantages. Prices, I think, are the main advantage. They're still very low across Greece, on average at around 1,500 to 1,600 euros per square meter. And a study by price comparison site Compare the Market found that Greek property market is the second most affordable in the European Union after Latvia, and in actual fact the 8th most affordable in the world. Furthermore, PwC stated that in 2022 Athens was the most promising property market. Number two, very important, which has happened quite recently, Greece is to freeze VAT tax on new builds until 2025. Now, originally this was supposed to come to an end by 31st of December 2022, but it's been extended, and this is a very good sign. Number three, tourism. From 2006 to 2019, tourism more than doubled in Greece, despite Greece being a mature market, and in Athens the figures were even better. Number four, I want to talk about the recent cut in property tax. So Prime Minister Mitsotakis recently announced changes to the Greek property tax, which equates to a 13% reduction and will benefit approximately 4 in 5 households. Now, it will mainly benefit households in the middle and lower value zones of the country. Number five, which is also good, there's no capital gains tax to pay on property until the end of 2022. So if you sell your property by then, you'll pay no capital gains tax. Now, I'm hoping this somehow will get extended beyond 2022. But even if it doesn't, before that, capital gains tax in Greece for selling your property was quite low at around 15%. And if you kept your property for more than 5 years, you would pay no capital gains tax. Number six, let's talk about the Golden Visa scheme. Now, this grants a 5-year residency to foreigners investing in property in the country. And it can be more than one property. You only need spend a minimum of 250,000 euros, which is quite low. And once granted, you can legally live and work in Greece. However, you are not required to actually live in Greece, even for 1 day, and you can rent your property out. Now, also, if you decide to settle in Greece, you can actually apply for citizenship once you have lived there for 7 years. Now, number seven, I want to talk briefly about GDP, which I said actually fell spectacularly by 25% between the years 2007 to 2017. But growth did return for years 2017, 2018 and 2019 before the dreaded pandemic hit. And the pandemic saw GDP fall by around 9% in 2020, but Greece has rebounded very strongly with GDP growth of 8.3% in 2021, and it is projected growth will be over 5% in 2022, so Greece is fighting back. Number eight, the property market is very important in Greece, so 30% of foreign direct investment in Greece is property investment. So I'm hoping this will incentivize the Greek government to keep taxes low in Greece, especially when it comes to property. Now, the ninth reason I want to talk about is falling unemployment, albeit slightly. As of February 2022, unemployment fell to 12.8%, and youth unemployment has fallen a bit, but it is still over 30%. Number 10, let's talk about total government debt to GDP, which I know is very, very high. But I think the Greek government genuinely is doing its best to rein the debt in. And in August 2018, Greece finally exited the 8-year bailout program. However, it does remain under EU scrutiny. And the total government debt to GDP did reach 205% as a result of the pandemic. Of course, and other factors previously. It is projected to fall under 200% by the end of 2022, but it is still incredibly high. So having talked about 10 advantages, let's briefly touch on the disadvantages. And we've already mentioned government debt to GDP. Despite the government's efforts to try and bring this down, it is still incredibly high. Unemployment is still very high, especially amongst the youth. And rental income tax in Greece is not low. So from 0 to 12,000 euros, you'll pay 15%. From 12,001 euros to 35,000 euros, you'll pay 35%. And any rental income over 35,000 euros, you'll pay 45%. And Greece does have a solidarity tax as well, which between 0 and 12,000 euros, you'll pay 0%. But between 12,001 to 20,000 euros, you'll pay 2.2%, and it does go up on a scale to 10% for anything above 220,000 euros of income, rental income. Number 5, Greece unfortunately does have an inheritance tax as well. However, if you leave your property to a spouse, child, grandchild or a parent, it is quite low. So below 150,000 euros, you'll pay no inheritance tax. From 150,000 euros to 300,000 euros, 1% inheritance tax. From 300,000 to 600,000 euros, 5% inheritance tax. Above 600,000 euros, 10% inheritance tax. Now, this is a lot better than the UK, France and Japan, but these percentages do increase if you leave your property to a more distant relative. So the more distant the relative, the more you'll have to pay. So having talked about the advantages and disadvantages of investing in the Greek property market, should you buy, given that the prices have recovered a fair bit? I think, to be honest, I think in Athens, I would say definitely yes in the centre, because I still feel there is growth in the Athens market, particularly in the central districts, which are very, very low at an average of 1,700 euros per square metre. Now, in the southern districts, it's more expensive. So in the elite areas of Athens, you'll pay a lot more. So what I would do, I would go for perhaps 1 bedrooms in the centre of Athens, which give you higher yields at 6% gross and which have more potential to grow in the future. Now, as regards other cities, Thessaloniki, or otherwise known as Salonica, could also be good value. Property prices here are 1,700 euros per square metre, and it's also quite Athens. What I want to say, Athens and Salonica are very densely populated cities, and population-wise are expected to grow, albeit slowly. Whereas in Greece there will be a population decline. So I think if you invest in the centre of Athens or the centre of Salonica, I think you're going to do okay in the future. But what about other places? Let's say the islands. Well, let's take Crete for it. I want to take islands with airports. So I think Crete could be a good investment because prices fell heavily as they have done in Athens, but there's yet to be any rebound here at all, or barely. Prices have barely rebounded, and on average they're only 1,300 to 1,600 euros per square metre. So potentially here there's an opportunity. In Corfu, you've seen a bit more of a similar trend to Athens. So prices went down quite a bit, but there has been quite a good rebound. However, prices are still quite low at 1,500 to 1,700 euros per square metre. So perhaps maybe in Crete, Corfu, there could be some money to be made here. I think there's very little downside here. even let's say for a lifestyle investment, or if you purchase just to get the residency in Crete or Corfu, you can do very well. Where perhaps is a little bit more tricky is Santorini and Mykonos, which have been more resilient due to international buyers, especially Santorini, where prices are upwards of 4,000 euros per square meter, and in prestigious areas you can pay as much as 10,000 euros per square meter. So I don't think there's any opportunity here. Anyway, that's it for today. I'd love to know your thoughts. Thanks ever so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon on the next video.